Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I want to talk to you again about a rule change by the VA due to changes in the real estate industry. Now, the VA has moved somewhat quickly under pressure from the National Association of Realtors, and I wanted to share that with you. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Now, customarily, what used to happen in the real estate industry is the seller of the home would typically carry all the costs for the realtors involved, the listing agent's commission and the buyer's agent's commission. Usually somewhere between 4%, maybe on the low end, up to 6% for a total commission. Now, hit the thumbs up again, subscribe. I really appreciate it. We're jumping into it. Veterans Affairs removes compensation hurdle for military buyers. Now, what has happened is the short version, there was a lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors that the listing agent, the person that's putting the stick in the yard and going to sell the house, should not be negotiating or applying any sort of fees for a buyer's agent in the building of the listing contract, right? So the National Association is moving toward not allowing listing agents to talk about how much a buyer is going to make. The buyer is going to negotiate that fee with a buyer's agent if that's the route they go. Now, you're not stuck here carrying the burden of the fee. You could be, and that's kind of where this is going. But you can also, depending on the market, maybe negotiate the buyer's commission, the realtor's commission for the buyer's side, negotiate that into the contract and have the seller still pay for it through the contract. So it just depends, right? But that's something that has to happen after the fact, and there's no guarantees. The big deal here is that in order to utilize a VA home loan, until recently, it was not allowed for a VA buyer to pay these commissions. So the VA had to undo that because of this lawsuit. So I want to read through it here, and we'll see, just shine a little light on it for folks. So NAR is the National Association of Realtors. So NAR's advocacy efforts end in major win for military home buyers. The Department of Veterans Affairs officially announced Tuesday a temporary policy because they want to sit and watch and see how it all plays out industry-wide and nationally. Temporary policy allowing VA home buyers to compensate their real estate agent directly. This would be the buyer's agent. The department says it will determine whether a formal rulemaking process is necessary. The move brings relief to VA home buyers whom the National Association of Realtors has been working feverishly to support in recent months. NAR launched an all-hands effort earlier this year to change the department's previous rule, which prohibited VA homebuyers from paying a brokerage fee or commission in connection with the services of a real estate professional. The rule presented a potential hardship for VA buyers under NAR's proposed settlement agreement. This is that lawsuit. Under the VA's new temporary policy, eligible veterans, active duty service members, and surviving spouses who use their VA home loan benefits can pay for certain real estate buyer broker fees when purchasing a home. The VA said in a statement Tuesday, this update is intended to ensure VA's programs continue to promote access to home ownership for veterans. Housing for veterans remains a top advocacy issue for NAR. NAR launched an all-hands advocacy effort on this issue, meeting with VA officials, engaging with lawmakers, and rallying our industry partners to ensure this prohibition was lifted, says NAR Chief Advocacy Officer Shannon McGann, I guess. Without this change, thousands of veteran buyers could be denied access to professional representation in their pursuit of the American dream of home ownership. Taking this extra step ensures veterans have the same opportunity as others to compete in a tight housing market. We applaud the VA for recognizing this danger and acting swiftly to protect veterans. The VA Loan Guarantee Program is a vital homeownership tool that provides military veterans with a centralized, affordable, and accessible method of purchasing a home with no down payment as a benefit of their service to our nation. It's also the only program that explicitly banned buyers from directly paying for professional real estate representation, NAR President Kevin Sears said in the statement. We applaud the VA for revising this policy and allowing veterans and active duty service members the same advantages as other buyers in a competitive real estate market, Sears said. We look forward to continuing this conversation, and our 1.5 million members stand ready to support the VA in whatever way possible to protect the brave men and women who serve this country and ensure they are given the equal opportunity to achieve the American dream of homeownership. The VA and NAR say they will continue to monitor the evolving home buying market as practice changes take effect August 17th. That's when this new rule is going to basically take effect for real estate professionals, not including commissions for buyer's agents in the listing agreements, and will issue updates as they occur. The VA adds that it encourages veterans to negotiate buyer-broker fees with their real estate professionals. VA buyers can also still ask sellers to cover the buyer's broker's compensation at closing. So, what happens now is the seller of the home has no mention of a commission to a buyer. You, as a home buyer, if you reach out to a buyer's agent who's going to show you, 20 homes, that buyer's agent, probably before they even show you a home, is going to ask you to complete some sort of a contract with them that basically outlines how much money they would make commission-wise upon the sale of a home for you. Now, I see a couple different things here. One is, for the VA home buyer, one important piece here is if you have a service connection of any amount, your VA funding fee is waived. That's a substantial fee, so you want to try to get rid of that. For no other reason, you should be, trying, if you're buying a house, you should be trying to get service connected for anything as well, because that is a huge fee. Then the VA home loan is a little more liberal with regard to qualification, debt to income ratio, credit score, that type of stuff. Rates are competitive, which is also good. And there's no PMI like an FHA loan, so there's no private mortgage insurance. You don't have to pay that extra few $100, whatever it is, for that mortgage insurance. The VA basically takes care of that for you. So those are important things. Now, what you can do is you can, negotiate your compensation to that realtor up front if you want to use a buyer's agent. You can then, if you find a house that you want to buy, for example, it's $500,000. Instead of saying, you take $470, right? Say, fine, we'll buy it for $500, but we want you to pay for the buyer's commission of X or this amount toward closing costs. The other thing you could do is you can go directly to the listing agent. So you could search for homes, realtor.com, or any other, public-facing listing service, but usually people go to realtor.com or like a Redfin, something like that. Search for homes, find a home, find who the listing agent is, and contact the listing agent directly. Now, the listing agent, if they represent you as the buyer for the transaction and the seller being the listing agent, they are going to want commission on both sides. Now, they've already negotiated their listing commission. Now they have you as a buyer acting as a dual agent. You might be able to whittle that down a little bit and get a smaller amount of commission that you would have to pay, and you might have a little more leverage in your negotiation. Again, depending on the markets always determine who kind of has the more weight in the process. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.